Well, welcome everyone to the Better Your Brain webinar. I'm Dr. Carla, and we're going to be starting this webinar shortly. But first, I just wanted to introduce my guest, Dr. Porter. And Dr. Porter is an award-winning author. He's a sought-out speaker and a media expert, also brain entertainment expert and creator of the BrainTap technology, which is what we're going to be discussing today and introducing to you.
That's great. Well, thank you, Carla. And we're going to get right into this because I want people to understand this is a brain training webinar. Hopefully we're going to teach them some things that are going to be easy to learn. We're going to go through it rather fast because we know people's time is very valuable, but we want to teach people how to improve their clarity, their quality of sleep, how to create more energy, and do this all effortless because we have this powerful brain and we want to start using it more efficiently. And we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Awesome. I'm excited. I know I've used the BrainTap myself, and I can't wait for you to share all about it.
Now, our mission, which we're so happy that, Carla, you're part of that mission, is to better 1 billion brains. And obviously, I can't do that on my own. I need actually a team of people. And with all my resources, all your resources, everyone we know, we need to start changing the planet. Or it's my belief that as everybody brings down their own personal stress, we can bring down the stress of the planet.
Awesome. Absolutely agree, especially this after this year. We all need a little rest for our brains.
Right. So our goal for everyone on the call today is we want to help you to bring more brain balance, teach you about the ultimate relaxation, and how this product actually helps people in super learning, which I know, Carla, is one of the ways you found out about it through Quantum University. So there's a lot of different ways people are using BrainTap, and there's a lot of personal ways people do it, but these are the ones that people really focus on the most. But we have over 1,000 different sessions. So we have so many different ways that people can use it. And the brain is so flexible that we can, once you start using your brain in one area, you can then apply those same principles in other areas of your life. Now, this is a little quiz for everyone out there. Do you think your brain is balanced? Do you think your brain's in balance right now? When your brain's in balance, great things happen. When your brain's out of balance, a lot of bad things happen. And it happens primarily through chronic low-level stress. And that's what we want to do. So I've dedicated my career to understanding the brain so that I can balance and rescue yours. For those that don't know a lot about me, I was actually a very gifted troublemaker growing up and actually spent 2 years in second grade. You heard me right. I was held back in second grade because my brain was out of balance. When my dad started teaching the whole family, 9 of us, how to meditate, and we used technology-driven meditation using isochronic tones, really. It was generated through the Silva method. My brain balanced and I actually became smarter without really learning anything, just learning to meditate, getting my brain balanced. It started to work better. Now, in today's webinar, we're going to talk about brain balance, and because it's the gateway to #1 mental wellness. And right now, I don't think there's any more higher priority. I mean, with the 24-hour news cycle and everything that's going on, people are getting stressed out all over the place. People know about their emotions, but a lot of people don't know that we really have emotional awareness or emotional wellness. How do you handle your energy that becomes motion when a thought, idea, concept, or something comes into your life? These are really important questions to be asking. And all of this plays into your physical well-being. We need time to rest, relax, and reboot our brain because every day we're really in a, if you want to call it a sporting event, or we're in a challenge. We wake up in the morning and we have one life to live, and some people are just chasing their tails all day long. We want to teach people that balance starts first with mental well-being, emotional well-being, and physical well-being.
Yes, and Dr. Porter, we know that it actually doesn't take that much time each day. It's rather being consistent with it. And when you have a technology like this, it makes it super easy. You can just do that, 20 minutes a day, maybe first thing when you wake up and before you go to bed. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's so important to break out of that mold. I mean, when you think about somebody like here, we're talking about Anne. And this is probably some of the people on this call, right? I mean, this is the normal for people. Their brain's out of balance. And see if you can relate with any of these. You know, we have a 24-hour news cycle. One of my jokes is if you're feeling too good, just turn on the news and you'll feel terrible almost instantly. You know, they're bringing us the negative news. They're not bringing us the news. You know, there's a lot of positive things happening in the world, but they focus on that. If you're into technology and social media, I'm into technology, not so much social media, but a lot of people can't live up to their social media profile. And the old saying that all unhappiness stems from unfavorable comparison really plays out in the social media world, where you're comparing yourself to other people on the platform or your friends from school. I mean, I've seen people online that I haven't seen in 30 years. And of course, I love the birthday card that says, "I hope your life is as great as your Facebook post." So people tend to do that. So when we talk about text and phone interruptions, when I was growing up, Carla, probably before your time even, we had only 5 numbers on our telephone, 32807. I mean, and we had a rotary phone. I still remember my grandkids. We were last summer, we were up in the mountains in here in North Carolina, and there was a rotary phone on the wall, and they didn't know what it was. So now of course we carry a whole broadcast studio in our pocket. We can use our phones to do all sorts of incredible things, but it also keeps us tied to text messages and phone interruptions so much. And there's a lot of daily stressors just from our job and our family, right? Those were the stressors before. What we notice is most everybody is living with some form of low-level chronic stress, and they don't even know it. And then now you put on top what happened in 2020, I mean, that's just even compounding it. Yeah. So go over, let's think, so what's your number one stressor right now? Just go ahead and write it over in the comments. What's your number one stressor? Just take a moment, think about it for a moment, and put it over there so we can kind of see that. And remember, at the end, we're going to give you a chance to ask us questions. So why, and perhaps you can't find balance on your own. Our brain struggles to adapt. In this change to our brain, when it's out of balance, when it's dysregulated. One of the facts that we found out after actually doing brain maps on over 30,000 brains is that almost everybody, I'm talking about almost, I can have a handful of people that we've actually measured that did pre and post with their own meditation. It didn't stress out their brain when they were meditating. And you heard me right, because they're monkey mind, they didn't know how to relax, they're not breathing right. That's why, in the old days, you'd go to a guru, they would teach you how to meditate. Well, we're going to teach you why it's still important to be trained, but how the technology we're going to talk about today can do all that for you. It's going to train your brain to do that. So we have triggers in all the wrong places. When my kids were growing up, I always told them, don't turn over your remote control to somebody else. Take over your own remote. Don't let other people control your life. So when your brain's out of balance, this is what you might experience. So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, it could be as simple as balancing your brain. You might have anxiety, depression, addiction, brain fog, lack of focus and concentration. And the main one that we're going to talk about is insomnia. So many people today aren't sleeping well, but what we've done, one of the studies we did with women 55, 65 years old, we had them do the BrainTap 3 times a day. But first we sent them to their doctor. They were diagnosed with, they had dementia. They did the cognitive skills test. They scored out at dementia. We noticed their brain was out of balance. Their left hemisphere was actually moving slower than the right hemisphere. So we created a series of sessions. We had them listen to them 3 times a day. At the end of those 3 days, this is how important balancing the brain is. And all of them had anxiety, depression. They were all had addictions, mostly to sugar. They had brain fog. They had no focus and concentration. At the end of that 6 weeks, we sent them back to their doctor. And their doctor said, wow, if you came in 6 weeks ago like this, we would have never diagnosed you. But of course, in the medical world, you can't take away a diagnosis. So they have that diagnosis for the rest of their life, but they don't have the symptoms anymore. Their cognitive skills test showed they don't have dementia anymore. But the most incredible part was we learned that at any age, the brain can have what's called neuroplasticity or change. So what we found, which was really exciting, was these women on average had a 49% neuroplastic change, which meant they're able to think faster and better and have more energy. And don't we all want that right now? Now, we're talking about a sleep paradox. Most people who come to BrainTap come first because they're not sleeping well. And that's because 2/3 of America struggles to get a good night's sleep. And it has to do with our two different brains, or some people might say your two different nervous systems, but 70% of your nervous system is in your brain. So think about it for a moment. We have a brain that's a thriving brain. That's the brain that works to rest, relax. And if you're into the medical world, it's the parasympathetic system. Turns on the rest, relax, digest, healing brain. And then we have that fight or flight brain, which I call the survivor brain. And unfortunately, good number of people go to sleep in survivor mode. They're stressed out and they wake up with stress. So we should be waking up rested, recharged, revitalized. So right over in the comments right now, just take a moment. How much sleep do you feel best getting? When you write that in there, just remember, it's not always the amount of time that you sleep, it's the depth of your sleep. So if you have a way to measure your sleep, like I'm wearing a BioStrap now, these are little devices that can measure sleep. I just, for some reason, didn't take it off this morning, so I'm wearing it now. But you wear it when you sleep, and it measures my sleep cycle. So I know, hey, did I get the deep sleep that I need? And I can track, what did I do today? Is it influencing my sleep? Because sleep is your superpower. When you think about it, when you get a good night's sleep, you feel like you can take on the world. If you get a poor night's sleep, it's kind of like kryptonite. So we want to make sure people are getting that good night's sleep. Anne knows that meditation can help her stay calm, sleep better, but she struggles to quiet her mind. And this is something we hear all the time. I can't meditate. I tried. That monkey mind goes crazy. And this is not uncommon. In fact, it's part of the process. But do you find yourself struggling to meditate? If you do, just type over in the comments right now, I struggle. And we'll take a look at that. Remember, we're going to answer all your questions, but it's not uncommon. Remember, I told you earlier that when we measured people who meditate on their own, their brain actually stresses out rather than de-stresses, because it's not about thinking. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, but the science of meditation is really gone off the rails because everybody thinks they know how to meditate when they had no training. And it's not just sitting there thinking, it's more about sitting there observing. That's what mindfulness is all about, and there's a way to do it. So your conscious mind, a lot of people are trying to meditate with their conscious mind, and Bruce Lipton, who's a good friend and also teaches at Quantum University, he says that only 5% of your life is controlled by your conscious mind, 95% by your subconscious. So you're spending all this time trying to worry about the 5% when we should be really tuning into and becoming aware of that 95% of the subconscious and really get that deep level relaxation that we need. And that's where we're going to go with the BrainTap.
So Dr. Porter, you mentioned the neuroplasticity and then just now about the subconscious program. So with repeated use in meditating, are you saying that we could actually change those pathways where the subconscious behaviors and create new ones?
Yes. Yeah. When they think about neuroplasticity, think about that as those are neural pathways. A lot of our neural pathways happen unconsciously. That's the subconscious I'm talking about. So they're already built in, they're hardwired. When you get up to walk across the room, Carla, you don't think about that. You don't go, I'm going to put 20 pounds of pressure on my right foot, pick up my left foot. You just do it subconsciously. So that's hardwired in. But let's say that you want to learn a new way to walk because you went to your chiropractor and your gait's off. So they're going to teach you a series of exercises. And those exercises are going to show up in your brain. We now know that anything you do with the physical body is going to show up in brain function. So you actually, physically, you can change. That's why a lot of people do dancing, yoga, or martial arts, because it actually works to rewire the brain. What we now know with light, sound, and vibration, what we're going to talk about here, is that we can also rewire it by bringing in stimulus of light, sound, and vibration. And we can overwrite. One thing about the brain is it has like protective mechanisms. If you have negative patterns that you know you'd like to change but haven't changed, those seem to change faster than the hardwired positive changes. If you have something you do well, it's kind of hard to change that. Like if you have a go-to way of driving and you have a car that you really like, but now you got to trade that car in, you get the new car. The first few times you drive it, you might reach for the radio in the wrong place or the gear shifter and things like that. But after about 2 weeks, you're doing it all unconsciously again, and you're able to drive with no problem. And that's all about neuroplasticity. So it's a big thing right now. 20 years ago, they didn't think we had that. I mean, basically, if you were an accountant, you had an accountant's brain. That's what you had. If you were an artist, you had an artist's brain. Now they know that with proper motivation and training, that's why so many people are finding mentorship or coaching being so valuable, because a mentor or a coach will help you trigger your mirror neurons and get you to learn differently and better. There's so much we're learning about the brain that when I was growing up, they didn't even know. I mean, they used to say we were right brain or left brain. We now know that's not necessarily true. It's more of a rehearsed behavior. But we know that our brain, we actually measured the brain of a 102-year-old 3 months ago and got neuroplastic change with a 102-year-old brain. So we now, and there's evidence out there that shows that you can heal the brain at any age. So think for a moment here for the listeners. What if I told you there's a simple but powerful technique that can balance your brain, bring you calm, help you sleep, recharge your system, and help you learn quickly? I mean, that's a pretty powerful statement. And luckily for us, we have a lot of research-based evidence that shows that we actually do that. So this is backed by science. I mean, we have so much research. And for those research geeks out there, they can actually go to the website, BrainTapResearch.com. It's not a sales site. It's just going to tell you about all the science we got going on. And it's 100% passive, which means you basically put it on, it does the work for you. And I have one here. So when you look at it, you just turn the device on, put it on, put the thing down, press the session you want to do. It guides you through the process. So it's not like you have to learn anything. A lot of people say, I haven't meditated because I don't know how to do it. I can't dedicate the time to it. One of our studies that they'll find on the site is we actually tracked 100 people pre and post first session, and we got a 38.5% improvement in stress reduction and 23% improvement in all neural markers in one session. So you don't have to wait to get the benefits of meditation with technology like the BrainTap.
I love it.
So this fast, easy solution, here she is. She's using the BrainTap. She's using the technology that combines several proven methods, which I'm going to go over each of them. It's going to restore balance in the brain. It's going to help you to get optimum performance. In fact, if those that follow us on social media or go to social media and put in hashtag BrainTap, you're going to find professional athletes, movie stars, people, they love taking pictures with the BrainTap because, it's something unique and novel. And we've heard over and over again just how well people are using this actually in the sporting world, especially to reboot after workouts. So if you find in the middle of the day that you're losing your energy, this is a good source of recouping that energy. And what we're focusing on, these are the three main things that people focus on. Improve clarity. So when you think about improving the clarity in your life, this helps you with the power to maintain perspective, think clearly, and learn quickly. When you don't have clarity, or you don't have focus, you can get off track very easy. You can get sucked into, a lot of people do this with social media. That's why they don't go there, because you look at one YouTube video and next thing you know, it's 4 hours, and you're watching cats do crazy things and you got work to do, so you get that clarity is really important. We want to improve the quality of your sleep. We want to help you to fall into a deep sleep, a regenerative sleep. It's not time in bed. Remember, it's getting that deep level 4 sleep. And that's what's going to detox the brain and help you to recharge. And it's going to give you more energy. We live in an energy economy. If you think about it, if you can have more energy to get more done, and your body can do that, when we use the electrical system, meaning we're going to use the parasympathetic and sympathetic system to regulate the energy in the body instead of using food or beverages. A lot of people at 2 o'clock will go get some beverage that's going to stimulate them, whether it be a soda or coffee. But you can do this on your own by doing a BrainTap session. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, we deliver this through an app. So we're going to give you the opportunity. Carla's worked out with you some very good pricing for you. So you can do it just by using the app. You can download the app, and there are programs there for as little as $10 a month. So you have choices there. And then we have a headset, like I showed you. So if you use the headset, what we found is the biggest difference people always ask is, what's the difference if I just use the app or use the headset? I'm going to talk about the light difference. There is a big difference because we're not doing the light therapy without the headset. But what we find is to get the same neurological change, it takes about 3 sessions with just audio. when you're using the light with the sound, it seems like you get there faster. So think about it like we can get across town in any automobile, but if you want to drive the Lamborghini to get there faster, you want to use the headset. That's kind of the way to do it. And I'm all about how to get into that altered state where the real healing happens in that alpha theta state as quickly as possible and maintain that. And that's when the body is going to give us our best results. So we're also going to introduce you to super learning, like we said up front. Carla learned about it through the super learning programs we did we call it the Quantum Super Learning Advantage at the college. But what we're now doing is we're taking the wisdom of people like Carla, and we're taking her book, which is magical, and we're saying, how can we compress that into a 18 to 20 minute session where you can get all of the action steps and begin to actualize that knowledge. You probably heard you say, Carla, that knowledge alone isn't power. It's knowledge applied that's power. You know, you wrote a really great book and people will read it once, but really they say it takes anywhere between, some people will say 5,000 hours, some people 10,000 hours to master something. So when you think about people just reading one book one time, you need to have it over and over again, get those neurons firing and wiring around those ideas and concepts. And it's really nice after you read the book, then you do the BrainTap session. Now all of that knowledge is being what they call revivified, which means it's being restored. It's like refreshing it, like taking an old movie and putting Technicolor in it or something. You know, we're going to take those concepts that, in your case, what Walt knew. So we're going to take that creativity and the wisdom and the problem solving skills and put them at your fingertips, because the brain can now actualize them through the visualization process.
Right. And you did such a fantastic job too of really taking the key points and exactly what I would want the reader to absorb and literally in 20-minute session. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we've had some great feedback on the book. So people are loving it. It's a great way to get there. So what are the benefits? First of all, we're going to stimulate the production of natural stress and tension relieving neurotransmitters such as endorphins. Some people will tell us that pain goes away. Now, the pain really doesn't go away because people don't understand how pain is processed in the brain. You don't have pain in the extremities. You have a signal going to the brain, and the brain creates the pain. So once the brain's in these natural states, a lot of times the pain will go away and you'll just feel better. We're going to talk a little bit more about that.
I was using your meditations and the system because I was in a car accident, and literally every night before I would go to bed, I would be in so much pain, but I didn't want to take pain medicine. So I would listen every night, and honestly, it really helped with the pain.
Right. That's great. Thanks for sharing that, Carla. So when we think about unwanted behaviors, this was my background because I was a therapist, right? And I still am a therapist. I shouldn't say I was. I still do therapy. But in the process, what I was looking for was a better way to help. And it was really for pain that I started this whole program, because we were trying to teach people with pain how to relax. There was no neurofeedback in the 80s. In 1985 and 86, there was biofeedback though, which meant we could measure skin temperature, respiration, and things of that nature. And so we started finding out that, hey, when we started to relax the person, their behaviors changed, their habits went away. They started getting better focus. It's almost like there's a default setting in our brain that says, hey, when you're de-stressed, you can think, act, and respond to life better. You get better results in your life when you eliminate the stress. And I can't explain it, but we've seen that over and over again with thousands of people. So we want to do that. We want to help you to get that same result. The biggest thing that people tell us is they didn't realize they had so much negative mind chatter. But once you start really focusing on what are you saying to yourself all day long, we want to clean that out, because unfortunately we live in a society that is based on negative programming. I mean, I loved the Catholic school that I went to. I thought I got a really great education, but most of the time it was a lot of threats and fear, you know. And so they were programming me what not to do. And of course, being a boy, I tried to do everything they told me not to do, and I'd get in trouble. So the brain works best with pictures that are positive and images and focuses. So we always use positive psychology, no negative conditioning at BrainTap at all. We know it doesn't work, so we don't even use it. And of course, with your book, we even do it a little bit more. We're doing inspiring creativity. One of the things we need right now is we need people that can think. You know, right now, our society is being told what to think, what to do, how to do it. We have enough people telling us that. We need people to rise up and think. I do believe, just like you're sharing with your community, Carla, and what you do, everyone has something. They're not born by happenstance or coincidence. Everything here is by divine appointment. We're here to share, to grow, and learn as a community. Nobody leaves here alone, really. I mean, even though people believe that, we're all together in this. We can change the planet. And I think if we can stimulate enough creativity, any problem that arises, we're going to find a solution. So we also did one of our students at at Quantum did a whole study on eliminating jet lag, and we showed that we could reduce the flight time. Typically, when somebody flies from San Francisco to Japan, they have to wait 4 days before their nervous system is back to normal, so they can fly. We had them do, it was actually the Zen frames at the time. We didn't have the BrainTap then, but what happened was we had them do a session on the airplane, and a session when they landed. We could get the same neurological test that they had before they left San Francisco in 4 hours.
Wow.
So we can get the body back into balance very quickly. Now, who's reporting these benefits? Who's out there using it? I said earlier, you can go online and just put in hashtag BrainTap on social media. You'll see thousands of people that are using it. But the institutions that we're working with, we have over 11 major universities. Of course, I'm the Dean of Brain-Based Practices at Quantum University, but also Duke University is a part owner of the company. We have Seminole College. I was just on the phone this morning with Ames Institute in India. We do a lot with the large universities in India because we're part of the meditation programs over there and teaching people. Google is also on our program. We're in Google Perks, which means if you're a Googler and you're watching this, you can head over to Google Perks and get it for a discount because there's 140,000 Googlers. So we're in your program there. And we do a lot of work with Rashika there, who's part of the wellness program. So we're working with companies and universities. Some of you might remember the show American Pie. Shannon Elizabeth was the exchange student. And I don't know if she was known for her brains during that show, but what she did was one of our doctors in New York, Dr. Joel Joffreys, who's a big promoter, he gave her a headset. And then without us even knowing it, she sent us a link and said, is it all right if I post this video? And she posted a video to her followers and for 3 minutes talking about how great the BrainTap is and how she uses it to fly back and forth to Africa. She has a nonprofit for saving the rhinos. And so she was doing some promotions. Now, if you're into UFC fighting, out of the top 10 UFC fighters, we have 7 of them using BrainTap. And it's because the BrainTap can become neuroprotective, which means it can protect your brain from these blow after blow because the light therapy can actually do some work there. But this is Corey right before his fight that he was on ESPN. And he told the announcer after the fight, he said, I was in the room before the fight visualizing, and I saw myself knock him out at a minute 32. And he said, I knocked him out at a minute 32. He said, it was almost prophetic. So he was visualizing there, and he's a big proponent. He still does a lot of promoting online. Now, I'm going to let these guys tell you themselves what these experts are talking about, from Kathy Smith to Jack Canfield to Jim Quick to Dave Asprey.
Hi, I'm Kathy Smith. Let me tell you about BrainTap. This amazing device lets you reach deeper meditative states, leading to more mental clarity, more focus, and more motivation in all aspects of your life. Plus, it helps you eliminate negative self-talk and self-doubt, so you can reach your goals, whether it's to trim down, quit smoking, or run a triathlon. On top of that, it helps you get a great night's sleep. Now, does this all sound too good to be true? Believe me, it works. And
How do we change our consciousness? We now know that there are techniques, some of which you're very familiar with because you've created them, Patrick, that allows people to have their consciousness and their vibrations change to a certain frequency that allows all the stuff I'm talking about to happen in a much easier, quicker, and less resistant way.
Happy to share some of my routines that I do every morning to jumpstart my brain. Small, simple steps. 10 minutes of clarity, or writing and journaling, 10 minutes of self-care, going for a brisk walk and doing some breathing exercise, using your BrainTap, right? Doing something that's for yourself, that's care.
What if for the 15 minutes a day you were going to do your meditation at home, you could use technology like BrainTap, right? That lets you get more in less time. So you walk out of it saying, I got a lot more benefits. Same time, same energy. I felt better. I got more progress.
So I'm going to talk about all these different sciences that go into the BrainTap. There's 5 key components that go into this. Now, each of these are really good on their own. So I'm not saying that they're not good by themselves. They're all really good by themselves. But what I wanted to do is how could I, in the biohacking world, which we're getting bigger in, which I didn't know we were biohacking until, they came up with the term, but we wanted to stack them so you can do these at the same time. And a lot of people, if you're in therapy, you can do different therapies, at the same time while you're doing BrainTap. Like if you have light, sound, vibration, PMF pads, different things like that. So when we talk about the science that goes behind it, remember, you can get all the science. We're not going to try to geek you out on all the science here. You can go over to BrainTap Science or braintapresearch.com and get all of that. But what we want to talk about is binaural beats. Now, binaural beats are really the catalyst that started all of this. Now, how they work for those, this would just be a little quick and dirty explanation. If I wanted to get you to 10 hertz frequency, which just happens to be alpha, I'm going to put 310 hertz frequency in one ear, 300 in the other. Your brain's not going to hear either 300 or 310. It's going to hear a phantom sound of 10 hertz. And your brain, the expression is cortical response. You're going to have a response because your brain has a frequency response generator. You're going to think about it like that. Now, if we were together, Carla, on my spaceship, and we were going toward Earth, right? And we were to look at Earth and we were to measure the frequency of the Earth, it would measure from 0.01 to 100. So that's the frequency response of the Earth. The other thing on Earth that does that is the human brain. Because what we do, whatever we're around, whether it's around people, around events, around things, which we'll talk a little bit about, we resonate and vibrate to them. We've all had friends that we go, we just click, we just resonate, we just have fun together. And then there's other people, they go, oh, it's like oil and water. We just don't mix because you're not on the same frequency or you're not on the same vibration, which is a term people are using now because we're starting to understand the power of frequency, the power of vibration and what's happening. Now, not everybody can use binaurals because their hearing isn't perfect. And this happened to me. I had one of my eardrums. I had to have surgery on it from an airplane raid where it blew out my eardrum, and I had to have surgery. And now that ear is about 10% worse than the other ear. And when we were measuring, I wasn't keeping up with the binaural beats. And I said, what can I do? And when I did my research, this was about 10 years ago, we started adding in isochronic tones because this is a mono frequency. So this is the one they use in the classrooms. We're in classrooms all over the world. And when they want the kids to relax, whether it's just with a music series or a visualization series, they'll play it in the room because your brain will still follow that response using the isochronic tones, which is in isochronic tones kinds of works like ocean waves or a metronome, if you've ever learned to play the piano or music like that, which we can talk a little bit more later if we need to. We're also going to use guided visualization. One of the things I love about the science out there right now is they now know, Deepak Chopra talks about it, that 2,300 gene expressions are changed by the visions that we have. So when you're visualizing what you want, you're actually turning on the gene expression in your body that's going to help you to achieve that. And if you're thinking negative thoughts, you might be turning off those expressions that could help you to achieve it, because one thing about your subconscious, it always makes you right. So that's why Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So we want to think we can so that we mobilize all those internal resources that are going to help us to achieve our goals. We also put in there 10-cycle music. If you look up the research on this, it's actually called the Mozart effect. And what we mean by that is they've done studies with students when all they did was play classical kind of Baroque music in the background, and they were smarter. And if you've ever been to the symphony or someplace where they're playing classical music and you look around the room, a lot of people are sleeping. That's because that music actually puts you into an alpha state. and they've never practiced or rehearsed going into meditation. So their brain goes, wow, it must be time for sleep. We're in alpha. And so they fall asleep. And next month, they'll gladly pay that $150 to $200 to take that 2-hour nap because they can't get that level of sleep at home because that music does that. But you can, I mean, we have smartphones now, so you could take that symphony with you anywhere you want to go. It's just putting aside the time to do that. And then the last one that we're going to talk about is light frequencies. And when we talk about this and we show people like the ear lights, a lot of people go, why did you put lights in the ears? Well, of course, we have lights in the eyes because the eyes are attached to the brain. So we want to get light into the brain. But light in the ears, all of the blood in the body passes through the ears. But unlike the rest of the body where the blood circulates in 45 seconds, through the ears, it can take up to 3 minutes. This means all the hemoglobin that's going through the red blood cells, they can absorb more of the photic energy. We are photic beings. Basically, we're light beings. So it's not a metaphysical concept, it's a science fact now. In fact, at your genetic level, they now know that every 40 seconds, you broadcast biophotons, which means you broadcast light through the dura of the body, just like fiber optics, and it instructs your genetic makeup to tell you who you are. Now, if you don't have energy, of course, they call that death, but a lot of people don't have a lot of energy in their body, so they're tired. The more energy you have, the more you can broadcast this light. So when we feed the body the light that it needs, like we're talking about 470 nanometer light, 630 nanometer light, the brain absorbs that light into the hemoglobin, circulates through the body, and then finds those cells that are about to die. In science, they call it apoptosis. And if we can get there before that cell dies, it will absorb that photon, bring that cell back to life. And right now, one of the biggest places in science is cellular health. So if your cells are healthy, you'll be healthy. Now, our bodies are designed to be outside 14 to 16 hours a day, depending upon where we live. Most of us don't do that anymore. You know, we're in the house, we're in our cars. So we need to somehow supplement that. There's Dr. Cousins, he's very popular at saying that the most underprescribed nutrient on earth is light. You know, so the correct light, you know, there's a lot of light out there and some of it's damaging to the body, but we're talking about the healing light frequencies. But that light frequency is also going to trigger brainwave activity. And that's really what we're talking about with BrainTap. How do brainwaves do that? Most of you, unfortunately, if you haven't already been using meditation techniques or brainwave entrainment or doing some form of way to change the brain, you hang out a lot in beta. Think of beta as your active, stressful mind. We also call it the reactionary mind. So when you're trapped in the reaction, you don't interact with life. And that's a very stressful state, right? If you can interact, and life should be more of a dance than it is, you know, busting down walls. But a lot of people feel like every day they got to bust down all these walls just to get to the other side when there's a door right there. So we want to make sure you get that. Now, the first level we want to get you to is alpha. This is a state where you're dreamy, drowsy, you're relaxing, you're very creative there. Most of you or all of you should have been there at least a few times, especially if you're around someone you love or someone you'd like to have time with, your family, your friends. When it's that kind of time when you look down at the clock and you go, I can't believe it's been 3 hours, or I can't believe it's time to go home now. And it seems like it just started, because there's no time once you get into alpha. And then if we can get you into theta, which is a super healing state and a super learning state, they call it hypermnesia, super memory. That's where BrainTap's taking you. Most of our sessions are focused in these two brain waves. So, and the reason is that most people have them out of balance, which means they either have very little or they have too much. For instance, if you have too much alpha, you become hyperactive. If you have too little theta, you don't sleep well. So there's all sorts of different formulas, but we know pretty much in general that most people are hanging out outside of those two brain waves. In fact, one that's not here is called delta, and that means the brain's trying to go to sleep. And 90% of the people that we scan at shows, now this is trade shows, so it could be skewed a little bit, but we find that they have over 60% of their brain in delta, which means their brain wants to be asleep while they're awake, and that's going to cause them a lot of energy drain. So think of it like you draining that energy. So if we can get the brain to regulate, you have infinite energy. Think about when you were a kid. In most children, we find have a perfect brainwave until stress happens, or until they start having fear and worry, or they start eating sugar and, all the different things all the toxins that could cause it to go out of balance. Now, let's talk about a routine for someone like the study that I talked about earlier with the dementia study. We had them get up in the morning, start by doing a morning session. We call this digital coffee. In the morning, the sessions are between 10 and 12 minutes because you shouldn't have to relax. Hopefully you woke up, your body was relaxed and comfortable. We just want to get you focused, and we really want to get that brain, the cognitive brain, working so you can think better, make decisions, and have energy. And energy comes from the proper balance of beta alpha. So this is a lot of training there. Now, like I said, in the middle of the day, one of our studies shows that if you do a brain tap in the middle of the day, let's say 2 o'clock, when it's a natural time for you to lose your energy, your body temperature drops around 2, wherever you're at in the world. And that usually triggers people to have tea or coffee or something like that. But it's really your body saying, hey, it's time to take that nap. In our past cultures, we would take a nap at this time. We don't have time for that. So we want to take a power nap with something like BrainTap. We've actually tested pre and post, and you can get about 80% of the energy you had in the morning if you do a BrainTap session in the afternoon. And then, because most people's brain is dysregulated, which means once it's awake, it doesn't know how to turn itself off and go to sleep. We have sleeping sessions, which are designed to drop you off in that deep state, slowing down the brain waves, so that basically at the end, you just kind of are handed off into deep delta sleep, which is where you want to go. And you can do it at any of these times, but I always tell people, just do it when you have time. But these are the times most people find that they do their brain tapping programs. When we think about the numbers, what's going on out there in the world with BrainTap, we have over 3 million listenings on the BrainTap app since it's about 2 years old right now. So our average listener listens about 28 times every month, and we only have 1% of our members dropping, which means not only do they listen, they like it, they continue to use it because they're getting benefit from it. If they weren't getting benefit, they certainly wouldn't be listening that many times. We have people like Carla and the people that we train at Quantum University and others. We have about 2,200 clinics out there that are using it, or coaches that are using it as part of their coaching program to help to de-stress and help people to realize their dreams. And 81% of our users will tell us it enhances their clarity of thought. And they're not doing it for, most of them, for any spiritual reason. They're basically just doing it to be more focused, have better concentration, more energy, and sleep better. When we think about how you can experience it for yourself, what we've done is we've worked with Carla to come up with a program for you that we're going to talk a little bit about, and how you can get a very special deal on this and save really hundreds of dollars, which includes both the app and the headset. One of the things that it's going to include in the headset is it's going to include the pulsating light frequencies, the brainwave synchronization we talked about, that all result in deep relaxation. Amy says, this product has helped me with my stress and anxiety. It has also helped me to sleep much better. I own my own headset, and I love the freedom to use it whenever I want, especially around bedtime. And about 90% of our users will do it right before sleep, because I think that's the only time they have with their busy lifestyle. Sabrina says, I've been using the BrainTap app for a couple of years now, and I can't live without it. It made a huge difference in managing my stress, worry, anxiety, and it helps to create a restful sleep and freedom from addiction. So we literally have thousands of testimonials, and people will give us their 5-star reviews without us even asking, because it's something that they find is very useful for them. So the membership we're talking about involves 179 different sessions, and it can work on any phone app or tablet. It could be an Amazon Kindle as well, or a phone. So it's sessions like Jumpstart Your Morning, Deep Sleep, Stress Reduction, Find Clarity, Live Your Healthiest Life, Brain Fitness, and those kind of things. And then, of course, we're talking today mostly about our Wake Up audiobook series, because I started doing this for myself, just taking my favorite business books that I wanted to master, because you can go back and look at your notes, but a lot of times it doesn't work. But I would meditate every day. So I started putting my what I wanted to learn more into the books. And then I started contacting authors like Carla and saying, hey, can we convert your book into one of my BrainTap sessions so other people can benefit from that? So this is what we're talking about, is developing on a whole new level how to take and digest and use this knowledge. So we have books like, Think and Grow Rich, The Four Agreements, The Principles of Real Magic, The Trick of Money is Having Some. And actually now we have 68 total sessions. So every month we add new sessions as we develop them. And then of course we have Carla. So Carla, tell us a little bit about what Walt knew and what they're going to learn from this specific session.
Yeah, so what Walt knew, those of you that are watching, know me, and I'm everything about magical and creating and endless possibilities. And I grew up, going to Disney, and that was my subconscious program. I heard over and over, if you believe, it can come true. And so with what Walt knew, there was 4 keys that he consistently talked about to create the legacy that he has today. And so it's over, 50 years old, but those 4 keys are first believe, and then trust, and dream, and dare. And so each one of those keys we unlock in the What Walt Knew. And it's a quick read, but it's jam-packed with really great information that's going to help you break through any limiting beliefs that you might have. And I just love the way Dr. Porter has put this together in such a simple, 20 minutes, and you get every ounce of what I am trying to portray in this book. And so, and not only getting it, but you're getting it deep into your subconscious where you want it.
During this call, while we're answering your questions, we're going to play a little bit of the audio, or you can, I think, listen through the whole thing if you want to stick around that long. But we have different levels of programming. You can buy the app, of course, for $29.99 a month. That's the standard price. But when you pay for 10 months, you get 2 free. That's one of the specials that we have. You can also pay $547 for the headset, which is usually $647, and pay $239. So basically for $120 more than the headset, you can get 1 year access to all the sessions on the app and use it for yourself and your family to do that. So you can look at those over there while we're answering questions and can do that. So what you want to be thinking about too, if you don't have any questions right now, but think about, what is the brain being out of balance costing you? Is it costing you in focus and productivity? Is it costing you in happiness and peace of mind? Is it costing you in physical and emotional health? I mean, is it costing you in your relationship? Is it out of sync? Because of course, stress drives a lot of bad behaviors. So we want to make sure that you don't have those. So as we do that, remember, you can go over there, get the exclusive links over in the webinar, check them out while we listen to a little bit of what Walt knew.
Dr. Porter, I just want to thank you for giving us this time and sharing about the BrainTap, and don't forget to be answering the questions. We're going to answer some questions for you, and while we're doing that, we can actually have a listen to some of what Walt knew that you had recorded for me.
Hello, this is Dr. Patrick Porter, and welcome back to this Wake Up audio production. Today's session, What Walt Knew, 4 Keys to Unlock the Unlimited Power of Imagination by Dr. Carla Burns, is going to help you to understand the quantum principles that are locked behind all of your childhood memories, and help you to use this powerful inner force to design your destiny one day at a time. So first, understand that your imagination is a very powerful tool. And as you apply it in your life, changes will manifest in your morning, through your midday, and into your evening, as you drift off into the deepest, most powerful level of sleep possible for you. It is during sleep that this real magic can occur. It's deep, deep inside that place of wonder will awaken within you a sense of adventure, to change the things that you can in your life, to embrace those things that you have no choice over, and begin to first think, second to believe, third to dream, and then last, dare. So today, you're willing to fly like Peter Pan and take a magic carpet ride and get ready to unlock the power of your imagination. shift your attention deep inside. Deep inside, become more and more aware of your breathing and less concerned with the thoughts that you're thinking. Today is about tuning in, turning on, and transforming your life through the powerful tools that Walt Disney has shared with us, allowing this inner experience to unlock all of those memories so that you can live life like a child again, seeing through childlike eyes the real magic that happens within us and surrounds us, knowing that the spiritual, scientific, and practical wisdom that's found in the world around you through the books that we've read, through the movies we've watched, through the life we're willing to dream about, all of these changes will transform within us the capacity to imagine, create, and expand the good that is our natural birthright. Shift your awareness deep inside. Deep inside, you understand the truth that you're never too old to have a dream. And as you create this inner space of wonder, this amazement that can happen within you, even the most frozen heart can dissolve, dissipate, and make way for the magic kingdom that resides within you through your thoughts, your attitudes, and beliefs, which are changing every day and every way. Your capacity to play in the inner kingdom of your own mind is going to improve. So from here, if you don't mind, I want you to drift back through time, back in time to a time and a place in your past when you felt the magic of that moment. It could be the magic of Christmas morning, or the magic of getting a new bike, the magic of meeting a new friend, the magic of kissing for the very first time, the magic of getting behind the wheel of an automobile. Whatever that magical sensation, that feeling that is within you, I want you to tap into that real magic. Imagine it expanding as a fluid within you. So placing your attention on it, imagine it resonating at the very core of your heart, flowing through as light, love, and understanding, from the core of your heart out to the tips of your toes, to the ends of your fingers. Imagine you are awakening within you your consciousness. The underlying truth of all physical reality is consciousness. And the quantum world talks about the particle and the wave. And right here, right now, you're using your own mind through the power of your imagination to unlock your manifesting potential. Imagine it opening up in your mind to new possibilities. That your worldview is expanding, that you are far more capable than you've been led to believe. Your imagination is unlocking talents you can't even remember, that will be utilized around people you haven't even met yet. You're understanding these laws, that there are physical laws and spiritual laws. And during your dream time experience, the only limits are the ones you place in consciousness there. So today, as you step out of the limitations of the past, you step into the quantum world of your imagination. Your mind begins to expand. Your brain begins to absorb the concepts, and your life begins to improve. From this supernatural space that resides between the tick and the tock of the clock, all things are possible. Your imagination is supernatural. So imagine that inner space filling with such joy, with such happiness, with such magic from that moment, that photic spark of awareness, that inner knowingness is now igniting every cell, every system, and every organ to participate in the dream. Imagining your dream about your future, where you're applying the 4 principles of your imagination, knowing that first you must think. So begin to think about your day-to-day life experience. Imagine the people you will see, the conversations you will have, the discoveries you will make if you are all part of an incredible dream. And it's all working out for the very best and the highest good of all concerned. Imagine as you think through the process, your language becomes just a little bit sweeter. Your capacity to listen works just a little bit longer. There's a sense of awareness and awe about each experience. Today, after all, is a new day, filled with the discovery of you. So today, stepping in to that second key, you're beginning to believe. You believe deep, deep inside, when you're honest with yourself, that you have the capacity to improve the quality of your life by improving the quality of your everyday thoughts.